If you're grinding to achieve your goals, whether it's running a marathon, running your business, or running your life, WIS gets you. WIS is a tax and accounting firm that goes beyond the numbers, and we're super pumped to be partnered with them. Looking to level up your business or career? Make it happen with WIS. That's WISS.com/JWS.
Hey, it's A.
Hey, it's Phee.
And this is Tea with A and Phee, presented by the WNBA.
Okay, so before we get started this week, we just wanted to quickly make sure that all of our listeners out there are subscribing to Just Women Sports newsletter. Our schedules are pretty busy, so it's hard to keep up with everything all the time. But I know that twice a week, I can read the JWS newsletter and get caught up with everything that's happening in the WNBA, the NWSL, golf, tennis, hockey, you name it, it's there.
Seriously, I love getting caught up on everything that's happening in women's sports across the board. And they even have this cool referral program so fans can earn cool things like swag just by spreading the word.
So get on over to justwomensports.com to sign up.
We have a really good topic. Like, I love this topic because I feel like I like when sports like overlap, I guess you can say, like when athletes go to other like different games, yes, but like when you go to a completely different sport, like Naomi did, she went to her first WNBA game in New York, and she tweeted about it. She was sitting courtside, and like I think that was pretty cool to see.
That's awesome. Like especially women supporting women, and especially like different sports. I think it's so cool, and it really helps to obviously spread the word about the WNBA. So we absolutely need to get out and get to other women's games as well.
Right. And I'm definitely, if I see like Naomi just sitting there, of course, I'm stopping pregame and going to say, hey, I can't miss up on that opportunity.
For sure.
Okay, so she's training, of course, in between majors on her tour. What's the pitch to get her to a Lynx game? Go.
Ooh, Naomi girl. Look, we have the best fans in the league. Okay, you're going to have so much fun. We'll get you courtside. We got cheese curds here in Minnesota, so I know you're training, but like you got to take like a little snack break sometimes.
Wow.
And curds. We'll put on a good show for you. So come on over to the Minnesota Lynx. What about you?
That is hilarious. I mean, there's nothing much I can really say. I'll just be like, hey, welcome to Vegas. Like, what else can I say? No, that's it. Welcome to Vegas. It's time to have some fun.
I actually have a pitch for you because my favorite thing about Vegas, and I think you guys don't do it anymore, but was when Sydney Colson was like, Lady Aces, Lady Aces.
Everyone loves that. And like, it's crazy how that really like blew up. But yeah, that's a pretty good one. That's a good pitch
yeah,
too.
So
like
she can get
playing that in the background. Yeah, I like that.
So what did you think of her outfit?
It was really cute, but I feel like the way she expresses herself through her clothes is like really, really cute. And also her heritage. Like I love that she digs down deep, like to her roots and show that throughout her outfit.
Yeah, I love that. And I think like clothes are such an expression, like you said, of your personality and stuff. And I just love the way that she expresses herself.
Yes. So we were just talking about like how we love like crossing over the sports and having other athletes come watch us play. Like if we had an opportunity to go to a tennis major, like which one are you going to?
I would probably pick the French Open. I love France anyway, so any opportunity to go there, I think would be really cool.
Yeah, see, I would like go with the US Open because I think I heard Drake rap about it, and I'm like, yeah, I just want to go there just so I can
trying to get in a song.
Use that. I can use that as like my IG capture when I'm taking a picture.
Yes. All right, so let's switch over to music a little bit.
Yes.
Aaliyah's music just hit streaming services after 20 years. Is that not crazy?
It is crazy. Aaliyah, like it's crazy. Like I feel like we're a little too young. But like, I still feel like I grew up wanting to be Aaliyah. Like, I would like love to dress like her. Her swag was like really, really dope. But this is a big deal. AJ number.
Side note: Aaliyah was the reason I was scared of planes when I was little. Seriously. Side note: she's the reason I'm scared of planes right now. You know why? Because her plane crashed because it was too heavy. Like they had too much luggage on there. Did you know that?
No, I did not know
right
this.
Now, yeah, but right now, like the way they calculate how many people can be on the plane is like weight calculation. And they used to do it in the 90s where America's a lot bigger than it used to be. So I heard that they're like thinking
Wow, I
about
had
they
to
have
change the
to
number.
maybe like weigh people or scale them. I'm like, so if you haven't done that yet, are we too heavy right now?
Wow. Wow, that's insane to think about. Thank you for
I
putting that
know.
in my head now. Greatly
Just say,
appreciate it.
with all our travel, now you can be scared all the time.
But with Aaliyah just dropping songs from like after 20 years, Kanye just dropped his album. And like, I don't know how I feel because I feel like it might be overhyped. I haven't listened to it yet, so I shouldn't make a comment on it. But like, I feel like it's just a lot of things surrounding it. Like, his performances I heard were super dope. But like, I feel like it's kind of like one of those things where it's like, just drop the album, like, let the album do the talking. But he spent a lot of time on it, so I hope it's good. I personally am not a Kanye West fan. Yeah, I can go on the record and say that. But I hope the album does well.
Yeah, I would agree with you. But I think, you know, it's probably all this stuff behind him because he loves all the hullabaloo. Like, he's a performer. He likes all the extra.
Yes, he's super extra with it. Like when he stayed in Atlanta, like how do you buy out a whole stadium and just live there while you make an album? Like that's
you're doing the absolute most. But we're talking about him, and that was probably the point. So I guess
that is the point. Hey, now I have to go listen to the album because I'm like, what made you stay away from everything to make this thing?
Exactly.
But yeah, we'll see.
Yes.
This next topic is like, ooh, we're really shifting gears here. The Good Trouble March is in Washington, and it is voting rights rallies that are happening in Washington on the anniversary of Martin Luther King Jr. I Have a Dream speech. This takes on how it's, 2021 and people are still marching on Washington 58 years later. Like, that is crazy to think about. And like, when people say, history doesn't repeat itself. It doesn't, but then at the same time, it has this glimpse where I'm like, wow, like we really haven't changed, or change is still on the way, and we're still trying to reap benefits from where our grandparents were trying to help us get to this point. So I don't know. I think history.
I think history definitely does repeat itself, especially if you're not educated in it. Like that's like a saying, like if you don't know history, it's bound to repeat itself because you can't learn from your past mistakes. And I wouldn't say we don't know about this because it's something we've been fighting for so long. I think it's more sad that 6 years later, we're still marching for some of the same topics that are like human right things, like voting rights. I mean, why is that a problem in 2021? Why are voting rights a problem in 2021? Like, that's what's frustrating. It's like, we know about it. So it's not even like we forgot. It's just, how is it still an issue over half a century later?
Yes, I 100% agree with that. And I don't even know if I can even say like seeing marches and things like that. It's like, oh, hope is on the way, like change is on the way. I'm one of those people where it's like, if you walk it, you talk it. Like if you talk it, you walk it. So I don't know. Hopefully this means change is on the way to where another 60 years we're not still marching for the same thing. But it is a good sight to see that people are really standing up for what they believe in.
Yeah. And I was going to say, it is the only like hope out of that is that it's not like people have given up on it. People are still fighting hard. They're still trying to get what they deserve, what's right. And I think it just shows like the resilience and like how much people want things to change. And it's like anything else. Like if you make a big enough fuss about something, that's when change happens. When you sit on the sidelines, like at this point, we should know people are not going to do things out of the goodness of their heart. Like the government, whatever, is not going to do things because it's the right thing to do. You have to stand up for what you believe in. You have to make a big enough commotion out of it where they have no choice but to listen.
For sure. I believe that 100%. Snaps to Phee. Girl, you just killed that.
I'm dropping tea in this tea.
Yes.
Okay, so before we go to break, we've got to give some props presented by the WNBA. This is where we highlight someone who is crushing it on the court. So Phee, who are you shouting out this week?
We've been back from the Olympic break now for a few weeks, and all eyes are on the WNBA season. So we want to throw more props at Arike Ogunbowale, this year's All-Star Game MVP, who is on fire right now, leading the Dallas Wings and helping lead the Wings to a playoff spot. They play the Sparks on the 19th, so check it out. Who are you looking at this week?
Okay, this week I'm going to give props to Liberty's Michaela Onyenwere, who is holding it down for the Rookies this year. She's clear front runner for Rookie of the Year. So if you haven't seen her play this season, you're missing out. You better tune in tomorrow night when the Liberty play the Mystics in New York. It's a big game, very big game. In the wise words of Beyonce, don't try to lessen yourself for the world. Let the world catch up to you. True leaders know that to be successful, you have to set the pace and run your own race, sometimes before an empty stadium. Whisk is a modern tax and accounting firm that cheers on the underdog. They're the coach you need by your side to support all your business needs.
Whether you're looking to scale your business, sell your business, or you just have questions, Whisk is your one-stop financial expert. They're also into tech, entrepreneurship, and well, of course, Beyonce. Expect the unexpected at Whisk. That's WISS.com/JWS.
So before we bring on our next guest, we want to get serious for a minute. He is known as a fun podcast, but sometimes we have to take it on serious topics as well, ones that are important to us. We talk about mental health and the toll that it has on being athletes, especially just under the public light all the time, especially today. And we're going to have some more fun, but today we want to get into some serious topics. And for me, this one kind of really hits home because it is someone that has been through something that I don't even think we can wrap our head around, Phee, and losing his mother into just a cold blood hatred of a mass shooting. And this one really kind of touched me because, you know, we see, and it's sad that we even have to say this, but we see it on TV all the time, mass shootings in everywhere and anywhere in our nation. But when it was like the Charleston 9 and it was South Carolina and it was somewhere where I've been and I've seen this church in my head and my dad knows the pastor that was killed as well, like that really struck me hard because I'm like, wow, like you really don't feel it until it hits close to home. And it's sad that that's when we have our biggest like open moments where we're like, oh my God, this is real and this is happening. But I'm so glad that we have people like Chris Singleton that can come on and continue his mother's journey and legacy and spreading love instead of hate. And I am so happy that I can introduce him because he is not defined by one thing. He is someone that's going to be there for the baseball fans. He is now just a motivational speaker and also a social activist. Well, Chris, I don't know if you heard much of our podcast, but when it comes to our podcast, we like to spill the tea, but this tea's like from everywhere. Like we have musicians, we have athletes, of course, like, and like yourself. So just like tell our listeners, who's Chris? Like who is Chris?
Yeah, okay. Spilling the tea. All right, so husband, I'm a father, and a son. I played professional sports for a little while, and now I have the opportunity to, you know, speak professionally and share a message of unity and love. So that's me in a nutshell right there.
Wow.
Nice.
Yeah, and I think we have to like add, of course, social activism in there. Like we were just talking about, like, even when you listed out all those things, you're so much more of what people would think of. And I want to know, like, what influenced you so much to make a commitment to social activism?
Yeah, so I didn't, you know, grow up wanting to be an activist or anything like that. For me, it was personal experience. So I lost my mom in a really rough way. It was a racially motivated mass shooting at my church, Mother Emanuel. And so following that, I kind of devoted my life to, bringing people together, learning perspectives, most of all, trying to put an end to racism. So that's how it started for me. And it's grown since then. So yes, that's where it came from.
Do you think that people are ever like surprised that you're reacting in such a positive way and like bringing love and positivity and like, instead of, you know, because people can take that in a different direction?
Yeah, no doubt. So I've seen people say, man, Chris, you forgave your mother's killer. Like, man, you let him off the hook, you know, and I understand where people are coming from with that, but I've devoted my life to teaching people that think the same things that he thought. Right. So, you know, I understand where it comes from. Usually it's from a place of love, but I'm not on the sidelines. You know, I'm still doing the work every single day. And so usually when people understand that and they see that I'm genuine, then they kind of, they stop with those comments, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I also kind of feel like obviously I can't talk on this or how you feel, but does it feel like, if you were to like keep that hatred or keep that, it like takes away from your life as well? Forgiving him and then teaching other people makes at least maybe something positive coming out of such a horrible situation.
Yeah, like I often say, there's a quote. It says, forgiveness is setting a prisoner free only to let her realize that you're the prisoner yourself. And so when we hold grudges, whether it's, from an old, relationship or something or whatever it may be, we constantly eating away at ourselves too, right? We could have had great things going on in our future, but we constantly thinking about what they did or, how they messed up our lives instead of just, taking it and saying, you know what, I'm gonna brush this off and I'm gonna keep moving forward. That's what I've tried to do.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, it's been crazy just to watch your journey, Chris, honestly, like just seeing you speaking out. Cause I feel like when Phee was saying, we have no idea the feelings and the emotions behind it all, but for you to go out there and shine light and to continue your mother's legacy, it is something that is incredible to see. And when we think about it as athletes, like the mental battle is the hardest battle in itself. And so I guess I want to ask you, from being a former athlete, like how has like that mental health part of that aspect, like how has that helped you now that you're not an athlete, but you're speaking to others and you're teaching others? Like, what is your perspective on how to protect your mental health as well?
Yeah. So this is something that with all the athletes that I share with, we oftentimes say like, hey, our sport is our therapy, right? It's our getaway. A lot of times people say, you know what, this sport has been my therapy. And I realized for me, it wasn't just the sport, but it was the success in the sport, right? So it was the applause that I got from the sport. It was the pats on the back that I got. So it wasn't just playing, even though I thought it was in my head. Oh, I just need to play and I feel good. No, it was when people were saying, man, Chris, you did that so well. And so when we're looking at our sport, we need to figure out, hey, is the only reason why I think this is therapeutic for me because of the success that I have in it? And then what happens if we have a little slump? Because we all go through it, right? What happens when we have a slump? Is it still going to be that outlet for us, or is it just something that we feel good about because everybody's looking at us and the cameras are on us and, when things are going well? So with my mental, I never said it was the sport was my getaway. The sport was a place for me it was like art, right? So you go out there and have fun and learn, and it's a battle you competing. But I had to stop thinking it was my therapy because it wasn't.
That is so true. I mean, especially when you get to the professional level, you're not really playing for fun anymore. This is your living. And if you're not performing, you're not going to make the money that you need to. If you're providing for other people, you have to worry about that. Like, obviously you want to play, so that's stressful. So that's so true. It's not an outlet. Right. It's really not. It's only an outlet when you're playing well. And
exactly.
That can make
what's aggravating? Like I see people, I see fans say like, if a pitcher's, throwing balls and they're like, man, just throw a strike. And you're like, man, you think I'm sitting up here trying to suck right now? You know what I'm saying?
Just make the shot. Like, I'm not missing on purpose.
Just
right?
Make the shot.
Nah, come on, man. Nah, that used to be so aggravating for sure. But sometimes they got no idea.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Like not even a clue. And like when you put it in perspective, it's really not an outlet. And we're just like so happy when everything's going well. But the minute you mess up, now everybody's like, my mom would always say, they hail you, then they nail you. And it's like so true when you're a professional athlete. Like everyone's always up. And when you're down, it's like, oh no, you're terrible. Who are you? Why do you?
And I've never even thought about it that way. Yeah, I've never even thought about it that way. So it's like, I feel like I just had an epiphany when you said that.
I was so just like shook right now when Chris was talking. I was like, that is so true.
Like, wait, is this my life too?
Right.
Everybody, man.
Right.
But it's good though. It's good.
Yes. Yeah. So speaking of sports and stuff.
Yeah,
I was just going to say, is there a reason that like the Lynx and the Aces are your favorite WNBA team? Like, is it just us or?
I think the Aces are actually ahead of the Lynx.
Oh, a little bit? I don't know.
And then like the Lynx are down here.
Oh, man.
No, but how closely do you follow the WNBA?
I actually just started when AJ started playing, to be honest with you. So I was, I'd seen people like Candace Parker, but I wasn't really following too closely until somebody that I know from, South Carolina was a great college basketball player. When she started getting in the league, getting all these accolades, I'm like, man, I need to stay with it. And that's when I started to follow it more. But yeah, that's kind of how my journey's been with it.
Nice. I mean, it's hard not to follow someone that has their own statue. at the college.
Oh God,
Exactly.
Here we
Big time. Big time.
Never. I'm just out here just trying to like get by at this point.
Oh, she
Oh,
gets
come
by.
on.
She's the MVP. Her team goes to the finals. Like, she's an Olympian. She has a statue. I don't think you're getting by.
See, no, it's
Thriving.
Just,
That's thriving right there.
Just
This is
having
your
fun
outlet
with
right
it.
now. You're doing very well.
Just having fun with my
Thanks.
outlet, you know.
I love
I
it.
love that.
Yeah.
But like, are there any other like, I guess, women's sports team that you look into, or like anything else? Like, who else are you like really down for? Like, you're a diehard fan for them.
For women's teams,
Yeah. Or
So
anybody in general.
I'm gonna be honest. Like the thing that I feel like most people watch, you know, what as far as women's sports is anytime it's something with the Olympics, right? Because we're cheering for our country, all eyes are on that. And so during the Olympics, I was cheering for different, you know, sprinters. I'd seen stuff in the Olympics I hadn't even seen before with different track and field stuff. There was like, you know, women shooters, like they were shooting like guns and stuff. I'm like, man, I didn't even know this was a real sport, you know?
Same.
And so I'm learning stuff I'd never seen before. So I started to follow throughout the Olympics. I'm like, okay, I wonder if there's actual teams for that, you know, during when it's not the Olympics, or if they're professionals, how are they competing when it's not the Olympics? So I'm learning with that, but the Olympics definitely helped me grow and look at women's sports a little bit more.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah.
So transitioning a little bit, like from being a pro to being, you know, off the diamond, was that hard for you? Because even though we're both young in our sport, it's something I think about like all the time. So did you have any like kind of anxiety, or did you know what you wanted to do when you were done?
Yeah, it's funny you ask because, you know, obviously sports it's a business, right? It's cutthroat a lot of times, right? Sometimes you're there, the next day you might not be there. And so a lot of my buddies, you know, we're playing in the minor leagues. And so we're grinding. We're trying to provide for our families, trying to make it to the big leagues. And I was always speaking in the off season. So I was, you know, speaking in different youth groups, different churches, companies and stuff like that in the off season to help feed my family. And so I knew what I wanted to do, what my calling was. I just wish that I would have had 20 million in the bank before I had to, you know, transition. You know what I mean? But it was smooth for me. I had some of my buddies are still playing right now. And this might be the year that they're like, hey, if I don't get to the big leagues, if I don't get that next contract, then this is it for me. And they got no idea what to do because their identity was wrapped around their sport and their sport only. And I was grateful that it wasn't that way for me. Like I knew baseball was something I did, not who I was, you know?
Yeah. That's big time. Like, I guess, I mean, that could be a tip to us. We were just thinking about, is there any tips that you could give to us as we're kind of fairly new in our career? But I feel like that's a tip in itself. Like, don't let your sport define you.
Yeah, I also think like you guys have so much influence right now. So, you know, being that you're playing actively, and so there's people that are looking at you. What are you promoting? Making sure it's something that you stand behind in, you know, 10, 15 years. If you look back and say, man, why did I, you know, why was I a part of that? Or making sure it's like, no, this is something I stood on back then and I still stand for today. Is always good, especially when you have the influence and all the eyes that you have on you right now.
Yeah. I think that was also like a key part in us. Like when we played in the bubble, it was just a matter of when we didn't play in the bubble, we didn't have that platform to speak out on things when all eyes are on us, when we're playing on ESPN. And I think that's the biggest takeaway that I took from the bubble was the platform that we have as athletes right now playing is like all eyes are on us. And whether you hate us or you don't want to watch us, you're still listening to us and you still see us. So it's kind of like, we got to take advantage of that.
And I think it's too, like, kind of using your platform like responsibly, because, you know, especially like little kids, like we really pride ourselves on little girls, like looking up to us. So using it to speak out on what you believe in and like getting people involved in that kind of stuff. So I feel like we I feel like we definitely like are cognizant of that when we're on social media or we're playing games or whatever it might be.
Yeah, they're hanging on to every word. And then sometimes like I'll see this with athletes, like, you know, I was speaking to this NFL team and basically they were asking me like, okay, well, Chris, if I'm not well-versed in something, should I even say something about it? And it's like, when you think about it, nobody's really well-versed in anything. We can pretend like we are, you know what I'm saying? So share your truth. If you're passionate about it, share your experience, share your truth. Because nobody has 40 different degrees that are, you know, playing in the NBA or NFL or WNBA, right? So anybody that tries to critique you, yeah, I'm sharing my truth, right? I'm not sharing that I have 40 different degrees in it. I'm just sharing experiences that I've had and something that I'm passionate about. So don't shy away from it when you want to use your voice.
Yeah.
I like that. Snaps to that. That was like great.
Just dropping all these little nuggets.
That's like
today.
all these gems.
You're just
right
dropping
now.
teeth
This is
throughout the whole
amazing.
podcast.
No doubt.
But so, Chris, we play a game called Start, Bench, Cut. And it's where we give you 3 things and you kind of put them in order as to who you would start, bench, and cut. So we're going with South Carolina restaurants, particularly Charleston. So we have Saltwater Cowboys,
Okay.
Nigel's Soul Food, Bojangles. Start, bench, cut. I had to give you Bojangles.
I'm gonna go ahead and say I'm gonna cut Bojangles. I'm gonna keep it real with you.
They just hurt.
I'm gonna cut them off the rip. But you know what? If they were on any different list, I wouldn't cut them. But Saltwater Cowboys, man, I love fried seafood. So that's boom. That's number 1. And then Nigel's Soul Food. That's a great local spot down here. So I'm gonna bench them. But they're the 6th man because they come and it's quick. Boom. I'm getting them right off the bench.
Right.
But if it was breakfast time, I probably wouldn't cut the Bojangles because you need a good breakfast from there. But if it's lunch or dinner, they gotta go.
It's out.
He's just been talking about Bojangles for years. Okay, so here's a topic that here's a topic that we haven't even talked about this season. Chris, I have a question for you.
Okay.
Do you like banana bread?
I do like banana bread. But I don't really like bananas like that, to be real. I don't really like bananas, but I like banana bread.
Banana bread.
Wow.
She's never tried it before.
I like bananas, but I will not eat banana bread.
She's never even tried banana bread.
Somebody told me banana bread was like old bananas. Is that true? Like stale bananas. Somebody told me that.
It is. It's like when they're more ripe.
Oh, I don't know about that one.
See?
You people.
But I like the bread, but I don't know.
See?
Okay.
That's the part. That's the growth.
So you
part
haven't,
right
Chris has at least tried it. You've never tried it. I'll try your Bojangles if you try some banana bread.
You have to try it. Like, do you go to
You
Atlanta?
have to try it.
You have, no, like Bojangles is completely different from banana bread. Let's just clear the air there.
Okay, Chris, last section here. This is really the spill the tea. So if you have anything you're working on, anything you want to drop, it could be some more tidbits. It could be some little secret or something. You having a baby? Anything?
Yeah. Oh yeah. So me and my wife, man, we're high school sweethearts. So I'm 25. My wife's 24. We've been together for almost 9 years now. And we've got 1 son, and then we're having our 2nd son, Caden, in about 2 weeks. So,
oh my gosh,
that's
congratulations!
Yeah.
Oh,
yay! Congrats. That's awesome.
Appreciate it.
That's really good tea.
That's awesome. Oh my gosh,
congratulations! Well, thank you so much. Yeah. Thank you so much, Chris. We appreciate you coming on. Like, do you have anything you want to promote? Like, this is the time that the stage is yours, the floor is yours. We really enjoy you coming in and speaking with us. Right. Anything.
Yeah. So I speak full time now. So I usually share anywhere from 50 to 70 times a year. And when people want to bring me in, they just go to chrissingleton.com. So it's a message of unity, a message of resilience. I'm a message that I think every single person needs to hear. So if people want to bring me in to share, it's chrissingleton.com.
There you go, perfect. People. chrissingleton.com.
Yes. Thank you so much, Chris. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Chris.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate the opportunity.
And thank you all so much for listening. Don't forget to follow on Apple Podcasts, subscribe on Spotify, or wherever you get your podcast.
Our show is produced by Just Women Sports. For more great sports content, go to justwomensports.com. Be sure to subscribe to the newsletter and YouTube channel and follow along on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. I'm Napheesa.
And I'm Asia, and you've been listening to Tea with A and Phee, presented by the WNBA.
Sometimes to succeed, you can't do it alone. You need a team that understands your business on a personal level. WIS takes a progressive approach to help you win. Think, less calculators, more conversations. WIS is a proud supporter of this podcast and the JWS community. To discover how WIS is more than just an accounting firm, visit WIS. That's WISS.com/JWS.